Hey everyone, Julie here with Whole Choice Living. I thought I would just share how to make your own nut beverages or nut milk. I know a lot of people don't like using that term, but lots of times when you buy the nut beverage in the store, almond milk, cashew milk, that's sometimes hard to find, but it's always loaded with fillers and things to make it thicker, and sometimes you just never know what ingredients are in there. So making your own is super simple, so stick with me and I'm going to show you how. The nut I'm choosing to use today is cashews. I love using cashews, one, because they're super creamy, they're super yummy, and they're softer, and there's less waste. So I know almond milk is very popular, but when I make almond milk, I have so much pulp left over, I feel like it's somewhat wasteful. I still make it. I'm still looking for recipes. I know there are recipes out there of what you can do with your extra pulp. But when you make cashew milk, you barely have anything left over. And again, it's super creamy and it's delicious, and I like it to drink it just straight. It's great to put in like your coffee or your tea. So we're going to get started. I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing I did, I actually did this 2 days ago, but typically you only need to do it overnight. I put my cashews in a container, a glass container, and then I filled it up, and it doesn't really matter how much. You just want to make sure that they're covered and they're soaking. Okay, so I did that, and they're nice and soft. Note, you can do this with any nut, right? When you do it with almonds, I tend to soak them even longer, so because they're so much harder than like the cashews. So I will soak them probably for 2 days, but the second day I will rinse them, and then I soak them, put fresh water in. Okay, so I'm going to just come over here to the sink, and I'm going to strain them. Okay, so they've already been soaking. I changed out the water. Okay, and then you want to rinse them off. I'm going to give them a good rinse. And I have a Vitamix. Yeah, that's what I have, a Vitamix blender. I'm just going to stick them in my blender. So if you're going to make this on a regular basis, I know a Vitamix is an investment, but it's one of the best investments I've made. I can now make my own nut beverages. It's easier to make anytime you're blending nuts, anything harder, it just makes it so much easier. Some of those recipes I have with making dips with the chickpeas too, again, love it. So if you're gonna do this, you can do it in the regular blender, but you may have more pulp and it may not grind down as fine. Okay, so the portion the ratio for nuts to water, so it's really only a couple ingredients. So I have, let me see how many, I think I did 2 cups. Actually, I did 3. 3 cups, I did 3 cups of nuts. And then you want to double the water, so it'd be 6 cups of water. Okay, so I'm going to add that, 6 cups of water. Make sure I got the right side here. So adding that, 6 cups to 3 cups. And then I'm going to add some other ingredients to it just to flavor it. You could leave it as is, just like this if you wanted, but I love cinnamon. I'm going to add cinnamon. You could add other spices, like if you did pumpkin spice for the fall, you could do pumpkin pie spice. So any of those spices that have those aromatic ingredients, and you can literally add as much as you want. That's 3/4 of a teaspoon. I'm going to add 2 of those. And sometimes I go back and I add more after I've put it in because I want it to flavor a little bit more. I add vanilla. Also, cinnamon is great to help with lowering your blood sugar. So, and I just kind of eyeball stuff. So, my homemade vanilla, adding some of that. Make sure it's pure vanilla extract. And then you could leave it again, just like this if you want. But I am going to add some dates just to sweeten it. Dates. great fiber. So just buy mine. When I buy dates, if you're not going to use them all at once, I put them in the refrigerator. Okay, grabbing a knife here. And with the dates, again, if when you do put them in the refrigerator, they do get a little bit hard. So I'm just going to cut those up into smaller pieces, and you want to do that first because if you put in a whole date, it's going to be really hard, especially if it's cold, to blend up. Okay, so I'm going to just cut those into smaller pieces. Okay, and that's about, they're all kind of clumped together, but I'm going to add some of those here. Again, that's why I love the Vitamix, because it just blends things up so nicely. Again, you can do this to taste. If you're really trying to reduce your sugar intake, you don't even have to add the dates. I didn't do that the first time, and it tasted great. Okay, I use this as a base for my smoothies. My husband's been putting it in his coffee. I make a matcha tea in the morning, and I use part water and then part cashew milk for that as well. Again, really sticky. So taking a little bit of time to cut up here. And I'm adding 3 dates. 3 dates, three cups of, so 1 date per cup of nuts. Okay, I'm going to put the cover on. I'm going to blend it up. And here we go. And you want to start out slow. You just want to blend until it is really, really thin and creamy. Okay. Ooh, it looks so good. You can see how frothy and creamy that is. Sometimes too, I will add a little bit more water to it if it's too thick. Okay. And then after this, you do want to strain it. So I'm going to put, and I have a fine mesh strainer, okay, and I'm going to strain it just in case there's extra chunks. Usually, again, like I said, there is not a lot that strains out of this. Again, when you do nut or you do almond milk, there's a lot more. So, and you can push it down. Try not to push it too far through your strainer, otherwise you're just going to get that the pulp back in your milk. So it's coming out pretty easy. See that, right? Straining right through. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to store this. I'm going to taste it first, and then I'll store it in a jar. And I usually have some larger mason jars, again depending on how much you make. So this made 6 cups, so it made quite a lot. So you may not go through it that much or fast, so you can make a smaller amount, 1 cup at a time if you want. So if you do 1 cup of nuts, remember that's going to be 2 cups of beverage. Okay, and let that go there. I'm just going to taste it. See if I need to add anything else. If I did need to add anything else, I would put it back in. If I needed to put it back in the blender, I would either add like more water or seasoning or something like that. So I'm going to taste it. Yummy. I might add a little bit more water so it's not as thick. So delicious. Tastes like rice pudding. So yeah, I hope you enjoy it. I hope that you take the time to make your own nut beverages. Again, super simple. I forgot to mention too that you want to start out with raw, unsalted nuts. So they shouldn't be roasted. Forgot that point. Okay, start with raw nuts. Again, you can mix your nuts together. You can add walnuts, macadamia nuts, and do a mixture. Play around with it and see what you end up with. Yeah, so have fun. Cheers.